No trap laws. Minutes of minutes turn your bitch up into a lost cause. Beauty in the beast, the clip be cautious. Caution, murder the pussy, city floss. Oh shit, I need corpses. I metamorphosis, I'm fancy. Lock your head in the window of Porsche. Corners and in the portion, got an abortion. Slide in the pussy with adrenaline aborted. Laughing, I leave a nasty, straight gaffing. Cassis, pushing the murder so like you laughing. Nasty tone with a nasty palm. Pretty kitty, dirty battle bomb. Tragic, sacrifice insanity for best. Belittle vanity, what sanity will be cast in half. But I'll leave half alive.
Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another guide. Today we'll be looking at the Imperial Pike Guards. It's a unit I'm very excited to get into because it's one of my personal favorites right now. They're just one of those game-changing units that can dish out some incredibly satisfying moments. But before we dive right in, I need to make sure I announce the winners for the last giveaway. So congratulations to Philip Kalidrovic and Nate Meager. Hopefully I didn't slaughter your names, but I've reached out to both of you to get your codes to you privately ASAP, and there will be a giveaway in this video as well, so stick around until the end to see how you can get entered into that as well. As usual, we'll start off taking a look at the unit tree and the Veterancy lines. So if we take a look down the line here, the Imperial Pikes will come in at 34,310 honor from start to finish. And that's making them the single most honor expensive heroic unit in the entire game, outside of ranged units. So they're quite a commitment. And the Prefecture Pikemen, they took a major nerf in the past, and that has left them pretty weak in comparison to other silver tiers. So I would not advise this as a starting unit to grind towards, despite how powerful they are, because you're not getting a good silver unit in the line along the way. Then, looking at the unit itself, it comes with two very important skills, Brace and Advance. And understanding when and how to use each of them is make or break in playing them well. And we'll go over both quite a bit here after the Veterancy lines. Starting with my favorite, the top line, with bonuses to your damage when advancing, damage taken while advancing, advanced speed, and most importantly the Elite skill, which allows pikes to attack 2 units with each attack. This is going to leave Advance being just as capable, if not more so, than a perfectly positioned Brace, and it gives them the versatility to handle multiple situations. The bottom line, however, focuses purely on being the strongest possible Brace formation you can have. With some honestly incredible bonuses to defense all across the board, they just become tanky as hell and hard to move. But it does leave you limited in terms of how to use them in the battle, and so I still stand behind having my favorite as the top line. Now on the skills, I want to look at Advance first, because it has the most potential to surprise and decimate your enemies if done right, but it's not as simple as just walk into any enemies you see. The wrong use of Advance will leave your unit getting wiped instead of the enemies. A lot of that has to do with how far you let your unit advance into the enemy lines. If you can find yourself in a narrow alley where you know your units aren't going to get your side or your back for a flank, then you can pretty much advance as far as the skill will allow for without much worry. Units that you do hit will be staggered and knocked back or even knocked down depending on the unit, and you'll be able to run over absolutely anything, including prepared and braced units with ease, basically take 0 damage in doing so. However, I think generally the best use of the skill is to try and combine it with the Brace skill, advancing a few steps into the enemy, allowing you to make contact deep into their line, and then switching back into Brace to try and keep them from taking damage in return, and breaking their formation in the advance. You don't want to leave any gap in time between the advanced skill ending and the Brace skill starting. So unless you plan to immediately retreat or reform, it's always better to manually end the advance by bracing to prepare for the next enemies. However, this is not a unit to just let die for a good unit trade. Pikes are amazing at getting kills on infantry and cavalry, but even if you do wipe out a bunch of enemies in an alley like this, it isn't worth it if you let your pikes die in the process. Any unit can get kills in the right situation, but not any unit can do what Imperial Pike advances can do. Imperial Pike Guards are the best heroic unit in the game for controlling an objective point, in my opinion, hands down. They can single-handedly change the outcome of a push, even when the point would otherwise be considered impossible to save. Like here in this match, we're able to advance and clear more than half of the enemy heroes off of the objective. And like most heroic melee, they're able to go down, get healed up, and come back for another full force advance, buying the time and the space for my team to come in and save the objective on the very last tick, whereas no other unit in the game could have accomplished the same thing in this situation. This of course works offensively as well, and I love saving them for the very end to get into position and full force clear the enemy completely off their own flag, and then bracing in front to keep them from getting back on. And it really is one of the most effective ways to break an unbreakable final point. One of the only things that can stop an Imperial Pike advance is a better Imperial Pike advance. Otherwise, if you're just calmly defending and you don't see it in time to move, facing their advance can look a little something like this.
Yeah, yeah? No! Dude, we have so much shit to do! Holy fucking shit!
That is a completely accurate representation, by the way. You really are done if you get caught surprised by a pike advance. And as you can see, even when the enemy sees it coming a mile away, it's still somewhat unstoppable if you don't have the units and heroes immediately at hand to be able to counter it and stop that slow roll easy win. And you can add to this effect with unit skins, making it impossible to tell what kind of pike line you're about to face off against, and if you have to be prepared for them to be able to advance or not. For the brace skill, of course, I did mention that it works great in combination with advance to help you get the most out of your advance, but that's not its only use. After advancing and clearing areas, pike lines can be repositioned to completely block off reinforcement lanes afterwards from other directions. Also, using them in certain choke points like on A doors on a Golia or setting them up on walls to block anything climbing up ladders are great examples of where a pike brace can do what no other melee can. It doesn't matter how many or what level of unit is coming up, or if heroes join in to help, nothing is going to climb up past an Imperial Pike brace. Then of course, like all pikes, they are also incredibly effective in just general use bracing, holding off melee, or completely clotheslining any cavalry that makes a mistake of getting close or charging. But they also come with the circle formation on F3. This is something I would use in pretty desperate situations where I'm likely to lose the unit, and it just allows them to cut off any flanking opportunities to break their brace. However, it severely limits the amount of pikes pointing in any one direction, and so it's much more susceptible to being overwhelmed by simple numbers. One thing absolutely worth pointing out about the F3 formation though, is that it becomes incredibly more effective after the unit has lost a man or two. As you can see here, with 2 men missing from the unit, the F3 formation becomes such a small, dense circle that it will allow them to hold out for much longer against overwhelming numbers if you are able to set up the smaller formation ahead of time. But if all else fails and you find yourself completely trapped off, unable to save or reposition your unit, the Imperial's last advance is the best way to make sure they go out with a bang and take down as much with them as possible. You get to watch as all the glorious members are popping off and your unit fades away. And hopefully you'll have made enough of an impact by this point and have the units left to get the win. Thanks for watching, everybody. The giveaway details will be ahead here in just a moment, but I also told you guys I'd let you know about any future exclusive packs that I'm able to offer. And we've got 2 new ones that are here now for Season 1. I think both would be considered value packs, but the cheaper of the 2 I'm actually pretty happy to be able to offer because it's actually a pretty good deal. If you already buy premium time, then the $9.99 pack is just straight up the exact same cost as buying a 30-day premium pass in-game, except that it also comes with a little bit of extra silver and experience cards, so that's kind of cool. The info will be on the description for that down below. Now, for the giveaway, just like all the previous ones, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below just telling me one thing that you like or dislike about everything we've got so far in Season 1, and you'll be entered to win the next code. Thanks again for checking out the video. I hope this helped you decide if the Imperial Pike Guards are the next best unit for your roster, and have a good one. Take care.